Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Your mentor, Narco speaking. Let me just make sure that y'all can hear me. Yeah. So, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Your mentor, Narco speaking. Welcome to today's free live stream, whereas I will be discussing your order flows and we'll be also going through our goal here. Okay. So before we start with today's live stream, I just want to announce a few things. Whereas yeah, should know. Whereas yeah. So first of all, um, just want to let you know that if you want free VIP setups, whether it's on Exness or Trade 245, all you need to do is that you need to just find your account with Exness. You need to fund $30 and above, but then with Trade 245, you need to fund any amount, and then you'll receive your free setups. But then this here will be only for a week. Okay, after a week you'll have to send me your proof of funded account for you to remain in the group. Okay, and then secondly, if it happens that you miss one of the live streams, it will be uploaded in the free work, but then for you to access it, you'll have to pay a dollar fee. Okay, so just make sure that each and every live stream you attend so that you don't have to pay the fees. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all. Okay, but then also again, if you there is a poll in my free Telegram group. Okay, so please just make sure that you vote in that poll, because in the near future I'll be hosting some free master classes around the country. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all for the announcements, and yeah, now we can commence with our session. So in today's free live stream, we'll be discussing our order flows, whereas our bearish and bullish order flows. Okay, so starting off, just want to go through some basic stuff, which is our market structure. For our market structure, we're going to start off with our bullish trend here, whereas we know that in our market structure we have our higher highs and higher lows, and for our bearish structure we have our what you call our we have our lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so basically these are the two trends that we have. Okay, the other trend is when price is consolidating, whereas price is moving sideways like this, so we call this a consolidation. Okay, whereas price is moving sideways like this. But then in today's free live stream we'll be mainly focusing on these two trends. Okay, so basically again, in order for a trend to be formulated, there has to be a consistent movement of direction within the market. Okay, so firstly you need to identify the consistent movement of direction, whether it's to the upside or whether it's to the downside. So after you have identified the consistent movement to the to like the specific direction, you are now going to apply your properties and rules of your two trends. Okay, so if your consistent movement to the upside is if your consistent movement to the upside um it meets the criteria of your uptrend, and then all you need to do now is that you need to just mark out that within the consistent movement to the upside, so that you confirm that consistent movement is really an uptrend or not. Okay, so this is just some basic stuff. So your higher highs and your higher lows. So again, same thing with your downtrend, your consistent movement to the downside, whereas now you're going to have your lower lows and your lower highs. And then this here is going to be our lower highs. So with just mastering your market structure, you can be profitable out of the market, because now you know where the market is going. So what you have to do is that you just go with the market. When you're in a bullish trend, you just try by all means to always enter buying opportunities. And when you're in a downtrend, you're going to try by all means to enter your selling opportunities. Okay. So now, since we have this here, what we're going to do now is that we can see that within this, we can just say this here is the daily chart, okay, or maybe the 1 hour chart to make things a little bit interesting. Okay, so we can say this here is the 1 hour chart, including this one. Our bearish trend here is the 1 hour chart. So now within this 1 hour chart, there's going to be more bearish order flows. Okay, we can see that our 1 hour chart here is in a bearish order flow, and within this bearish order within this bullish order flow here, there's going to be more bullish order flows within price action here. Okay, so for instance, we are going to have this here. So from here to here, we are going to have our counter trend, and from here to here we are going to have our pro trend. So same thing applies with all these points here. Same thing applies with all these points here. Okay, so we can see that this here is our counter trend, this here is our pro trend. So our counter trends are going to be shaded as blue, and our pro trends are going to be shaded as red. Okay, so let me just do the same with our bearish trend here. Our counter trends are going to be shaded as blue, and as for our pro trends, they are going to be shaded as red. Okay, so now let me just change the color here. Okay, so now within our 1 hour order flows here, we have our pro trends and our counter trends, and we have our pro trends and our counter trends within both of them. So basically now a counter trend, it's a trend that goes against the overall trend, and our pro trend is the trend that goes with the overall trend. Okay, so again, just basic stuff. This is impulse, correction, and impulse and correction. It's the same thing. Okay, also again, what you need to know is that within these counter trends and these pro trends, you're still going to find the same thing on the lower time frame. Okay, so meaning that on the lower time frame of this of these 2 points, you're still going to find the same thing. Okay, so for this counter trend, you find that it's pushing to the upside like this, and for the counter trend, it's pushing to the downside like this. Let me just do this so that I have more space. Okay, so it's the same thing. Push to the downside. So yeah, it's the same thing again. I'm going to mark this out as red, then again mark this out as blue. And then this here is the same thing as this, but then it's going to be on the, maybe since this is the 1 hour chart, this here is going to be the 15-minute chart. 15 minutes. So on the 15 minutes time frame, you're going to be introduced to something like this here. Okay, whereas same thing again, this here is going to be your higher high. These points here are going to be your higher high, and again these points are going to be your higher lows. Okay, and then with our counter trend, these here are going to be our lower highs, our lower highs, and our lower lows. Okay, so it's the same thing repeated again and again and again. Okay, it's like once you have cracked a system of something, you're going to just repeat applying the same thing again and again and again. Okay, so now, but then the only trick about this is that it's not going to be as simple looking as this here. So this here is just a textbook example. So I'm also going to show you this, but then on the live chart, which is going to be on gold. Okay, so we can see that this here is on the 1 hour chart, and then this here is going to be on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so now what you have to do now, your duty is going to be that on the 15-minute chart, this is where you're going to look for your entries. Okay, so in terms of your entries, you can either use maybe your supply area, or for my VIP members, they use their golden zone, their supply, your SND, any form of entry that you can use. Now you're just going to look for the entry points on your 15-minute time frame. You can't be entering off your daily chart, because now we don't have, most of us don't have that enough money to enter off the daily chart. So it's advisable that we go on to our lower time frames and then enter off our 1 hour chart, or we enter off our 15-minute chart, our 5-minute chart, or our 1 minute chart. Okay, so these time frames for entries: 5 minute, also again 1 minute, for us to minimize the risk and maximize the profit. Okay, so yeah, same thing applies again with this here, with our bearish trend, whereas going to be introduced to the same thing. This here is going to be This here is going to be our uptrend. No, this here is too simple. Wait, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so I'm going to continue. So as I was saying, for the bearish trend here, you're going to be introduced to the same thing, whereas for the counter trend is obviously the trend that is going against the market, the overall trend, which is going to be this blue shaded part here. And then again, our pro trend is going to be the trend that is going with the overall market, which is going to be this red shaded part here. Okay, so now the only difference between these two time frames is that this one is on the 1 hour chart and this one is on the 5 minute chart. Okay, on the 5 minute chart, things are going to be a little bit complicated, as there are key levels that are not that strong. Okay, as in the 1 hour chart. And also again, market structure is more complicated, whereas as the 1 hour chart, because now on the 1 hour chart you can just see your points clearly than the 5 minute chart. You can also see here on my on my textbook example here, we have points like this, whereas they don't actually conclude a structure. We can see here, and yeah, so these here are basically going to be our inducement, our type of liquidity also. So but then it's the same thing. These here are going to be your lower lows and lower highs, basically the same thing. Your lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low. Okay, and then for our counter trend here, this here is going to be our higher high, and this here is going to be our higher low. So this is going to be our higher high, higher low, higher high, and higher low. Okay, so now there's going to be some instances whereas price is going to trap you. So in inducement is basically where price traps a lot of support and a lot of traders to take their buys from. Okay, so now price is going to trap you from taking your buys from this area here, which is going to be an inducement. Okay, So another tip that you need to know is that there is no valid supply or demand area without an inducement. Okay, there has to be an inducement in order for your supply and demand area to be valid. Okay, so this here is going to be your inducement, and again this here is going to be your inducement. So this here is just a change of structure, and this here is going to be your breaks of structures. Okay, so we can see that it's basically the same thing, but then this here is just that it's on the 1 hour chart, and this here is on the it's mostly found on these time frames here. Yeah, these time frames here, the 15-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, the 1-minute chart. Okay, so mostly found on these time frames here, but this is from the 1 hour chart to the 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart. Okay, so again, this you can also apply this also applies with each and every time frame that's out there, from your daily chart, your 4 hour chart, your 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, up until your 1-minute chart. Structure is always going to be the same, but then your entries are always going to be violated or disrespected um each and every time when your higher time frame perspective is wrong. Okay, so your higher time frame perspective has to be correct in order for your entry to be correct. Okay, so that's another tip that one needs to know. Okay, so but then yeah man, this is just some basic stuff that a trader needs to know, your market structure. So very crucial in terms of approaching the market. Okay, so very crucial in approaching the market. Okay, so now let's just move on to gold, and let's see what gold has for us here. Okay, so this is gold on the daily time frame. We can see that gold has been pushing to the upside ever since last year, November 20. Yeah, gold has been bullishly so ever since gold has been there. Okay, it has been bullishly so. Even we can see that we had our hiccups, whereas price pushed to the downside from October 2024 up until November 2024. But then since November 2024, price has been pushing to the upside. Even here we had another hiccup, which is our correction. Okay, so another thing that you need to know, that price is not always going to push to the upside. Price is also has to always push to the downside, correct and impulse. Hence why the whole counter trend thing and pro trend thing. Okay, the impulse and correct. Okay, we can see that this here is our correction, this here is our impulse, this here is our correction, this here is a little correction on the lower time frame, and then after our correction we are always going to have an impulse to the upside. This here is also our correction, and we had the impulse to the upside. Okay, it's the same thing as your pro trends and your counter trend. Your counter trend is always going to go against the overall trend, and your pro trend is always going to go with the overall trend. Okay, So yeah, we can see that gold has been pushing to the upside, ultimately. So now let's just focus on where current market price is. Okay, so we are going to focus on this here from March the 31st up until where current market price is, right? So now on the daily chart we can see that we have a higher high, we have a higher high break here, and we also have a strong key level here, which is going to be our higher low, right? And then again this here is going to be our higher high. Okay, so now with that being said, each and every time when a higher high is violated, a break of structure is being formed. Okay, and then looking at this setup here, we can already see that this here is our strong low, and this here is our weak high, okay? So meaning that since now we can see that gold is bullishly so, we always want gold to respect our higher low, which is going to be our strong low, and violate our weak high. Okay, so within this area here we can see that we have this strong high possibility demand area here for price to tap us in and take our buying opportunities from. Okay, and then let's move on to our 4-hour chart here. Our 4-hour chart, we are introduced to a more complex structure. Okay, whereas now we have this, we are introduced to our counter trend here. Okay, so like I said, this here is going to be our pro trend shaded in red, and then this here is going to be our counter trend shaded in blue. Okay, but then it's going to be a little bit too big, so I'm just going to delete them. Okay, so basically you get the point. This here is the pro trend, and then this here is going to be the counter trend. Okay, so now we can see that previously, now for the previous 2 weeks, we can see that price has been pushing to the downside on gold. Okay, here we had this structure break here. This higher low was violated, and we can see that price respected this area here by using this supply area here, and then again price respected that area there, pushed to the downside, and then we can see that now price did the same thing, um, violated our previous lower low here, and then we are looking towards price pushing to the downside, because we can see that we are currently in a bearish structure here. So if I can see my golden zone here, also again my golden zone applies that we could be possibly looking for our selling opportunities from where price is. Okay, but then on the long term we can see that we want price to approach our daily demand area, so that price can tap us in and continue pushing to the downside. Okay, so this is what I'm anticipating on gold. But then starting off, we spoke about our order flows. We can see that here we have this, just going to draw them out. So this here we can see that it's our, no, I can actually do this here is our pro trend, and again this here is our counter trend. Our pro trend and this here is going to be our counter trend. So now once you have this here, your duty is simple. All you need to do is that you need to scale in into your lower time frames and look for the same thing. Trust me, you're going to find it. And once you find it, you're going to find your area of entry, whereas you can see within this pro trend here, there's going to be times whereas price is just going to show you like it's just going to show you a beautiful opportunity, and all you have to do is just take it. You can see here price tapped us into this supply area and pushed to the downside. After price pushed to the downside, violated our previous high low with a full body candlestick, and then started pushing to the upside. It respects our previous supply here and started pushing to the to the downside again. We can see here there's also again another beautiful opportunity. Price taps us in and then pushes to the downside. We can see again another beautiful opportunity. I think this one was sent in my VIP last week on also in the free group. There's setup here to push price to the downside. Another beautiful opportunity. Price taps us into our supply area and pushes to the downside. Okay. And then this here was going to be another beautiful opportunity, but then unfortunately, you'll be stopped out because now what is price doing? Price is changing from this counter trend, this pro trend to a counter trend. So as price is doing that, it's going to formulate this. It's going to now respect our demand areas. So you're going to now stop looking for your supply areas and start looking for your demand areas. You can see that price respects our demand area there and pushes to the upside. So same thing again here. Price, if price were to approach this demand area, were to tap, where was to tap us in and take our buying opportunities and push price to the upside. Okay, so yeah, we can see that here again, same thing, this demand area, but then unfortunately price tapped us in into our golden zone, hence why this demand area was violated. And also, yeah, hence why this demand area was violated, because of the higher time frame supply perspective. Like I was saying, if your higher time frame perspective is wrong, and then if your higher time frame perspective is wrong, trust me, your lower time frame entry is always going to be disrespected, right? um but then a quick recap on today's trade is going to be that just delete this counter trend only and go to my 30-minute chart. So a quick recap on today's trade was on the 30-minute time frame, whereas could see that price tapped us in into our golden zone here. And on the 30-minute time frame, just that this here is a different broker on what you call on TradingView. But then on that broker, this here it shows a beautiful supply area. Also here it also this one works. Beautiful supply area, taps us in and price pushes to the upside. So this is how I took my entries. And you can see that within this setup here, we also have this break of structure here. Price clears off, violates the previous lower low here, clears off and creates a new one, respects our entry here, mitigates our entry and pushes to the downside. Okay, so initially I was looking for some buying opportunities here on gold again on the 45-minute chart, I think. Yeah, on the 45-minute chart, there was this beautiful demand area also that I was looking to take our buying opportunities from, but told my VIP members that it's advisable that we wait and take our confirmations from here. But then, yeah, this is today's VIP. trade, whereas we took our selling opportunities here. And yeah, we'll keep on looking for our selling opportunities up until our daily demand area here. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it for today's free this week's free live stream session. Thank you for joining today's free live stream session. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.